Hi and welcome to this video in which we're going to talk about emotional abandonment when you have a narcissistic mother. Because usually we uphold the mother-child relationship as almost something sacred, as we idealize it. We look at mothers as sacrificing themselves, as willing to do almost anything for her children, and this is what we're fed with from the news, from our culture and so on. But when you have a narcissistic mother, you have very often a relationship that looks exactly like this, that people perceive it as something normal, something good, but the quality of the actual relationship between mother and child is something that's very invisible to the eye of others. It's something that, if you have a narcissistic mother, she's very good at concealing who she is and what she's actually like. So she's a very skilled actress. So let's look in this video at this abandonment trauma in terms of 4 aspects. What is it that you needed and what is it that you got? Emotionally, what injuries do you then carry with you, and how can you heal from this? So there's 4 different parts to this. So as children, we need a lot of different things. We need a lot of practical help, but what I'm talking and focusing on in this video is the emotional side. So as a child, you want to develop a trust in the world. You need to develop that you feel safe, that you have trust, that you feel loved, that you feel included, protected, that you're cared for, that you're seen for who you are, that there is consistency, that you can predict things, that I'm cared for today and I'm cared for tomorrow and I'm cared for the next day. And okay, something happens and nobody gets this the whole time, but consistently enough that you actually experience that you don't have to be in survival mode the whole time. Because when you don't have to be in survival mode the whole time, this means that you've got actually energy and space to find out who you are, to develop that relationship to yourself, and to begin to learn things, begin to develop yourself, master things, get a good self-esteem, and all these things. So that you develop a really healthy and good sense of yourself, sense of other people, and for those other people are modeled by your mother and father and the people you are in your small family for all these first years. So this becomes an unconscious map that you take out into the world. So then you can imagine that these are the needs that all children have. But when you had a narcissistic mother, think about it. She's self-centered, she's selfish, her needs matter, yours don't. She doesn't even have you on her radar. She's occupied with herself. That means that you're neglected, you're abandoned emotionally. Your needs and feelings don't matter, or they're a burden. Perhaps you're punished for it, for having needs, shamed for having needs, dismissed, and she also has a lack of empathy. So that means that she doesn't really attune to you, she doesn't see you, she doesn't care that much about how you are really. She doesn't pay attention to you as a psychological being and your inner world. And that is the emotional abandonment trauma. And often there's a family system that she's created with a family trance that everyone buys into, so nobody else does either. her love is not consistent and that you can rely on it. In fact, your experience is probably quite the opposite, that she uses it as a weapon and is very conditional about when she's accepting, when she's loving, when she's warm to you, and when she isn't. And it's not actually that she's able to love properly. So you always have a very lack and hunger and longing that you never get to fill. So her love is conditional, and it's used in order to force you to submit to her, to get her wishes, to get you to do what she wants, and that you just bend to her and mold to being for her and not for yourself. So, and then there's the side of her emotional games, her manipulation and gaslighting. There's always drama, there's always a sort of double thing about her, that she isn't, what you see isn't what you get. What you hear isn't the whole truth. There's always different levels, different things going on at the same time. She uses you in her inner psyche kind of games that she's expressing, and she pulls you into this dysfunction to use you. And a lot of this, some of it might be conscious and some of this might be unconscious, but you are around her who is a very disturbed emotionally person. So you are wounded by all this and used, and in combination with not being seen as being your own person and not experiencing normal empathy and normal care and normal love. So what kind of injuries does this produce then in people? So when you are used to being around people who demand you to be how they want you to be, well, you might be so used to this then that you've self-abandoned, you don't perhaps know who you are, because your relationship to yourself hasn't had the chance to develop much. And you might be very used to being around narcissists and selfish people, so that sets you up to be vulnerable, to just gravitate towards new relationships like this, and having a really low standard of how others can treat you, because you don't know of anything else. And you probably don't even think that you deserve it, because we learned what we deserve from how we are treated. So if you're treated as in you don't matter, then you learn that you don't matter. And then you go out into the world expecting not to matter. So when you got others who treat you that you don't matter, you don't even consider it, that there's anything wrong with this. And then you're trapped in that cycle and maybe also unaware of it. So yeah, so you can see that that really sets you up to struggle in your adult life. And yeah, so you've been so focused on her and then later on other people that you don't even register perhaps how you actually feel, what your needs are. So you might not register it, you might not be connected with it, and how can you then live a life that is authentic for you and a good life? That's really difficult in this case. And even if you do have that voice that tells you that you actually need this and you should do that, and like listen to, if you have that quiet voice, then you're very good at just dismissing it. So you have molded yourself into someone who is for others and not for yourself. That's a common injury. Also to feel really bad and shameful of yourself because you've been treated worthlessly, and that must mean, and all this pain that you've had, most kids take that. Kids kids do think it's because of them. So you probably feel really bad about yourself and shameful, and you might have been shamed a lot by her as well, making you ashamed of yourself. And it's very likely that you feel that parts of you are unacceptable and that there's something really wrong with you, because imagine what goes on inside the world of a child being emotionally abandoned like this, when nobody comes to the child's aid to help them normalize, to help them make sense of things. This can spin almost out of control in like feeling bad thoughts about oneself, bad feelings around oneself, trying to get one's emotional needs met in different ways, maybe unconsciously. So there can be a lot of different repercussions of this and a lot of shame attached to this. And you are vulnerable to how others treat you and to who you meet and who you accept in your life, because you are ready to accept poor treatment and put up with things that you shouldn't be putting up with. You also have had an injury in terms of not learning to trust yourself and being told of reality in your family where everything's perfect when you really know that it's not. So it causes, it affects your relationship to self. So, and that is the relationship that you should use to navigate in your life. So it's really hard then to trust yourself, and also hard to trust others. It's hard to not be confused and overwhelmed and triggered in relationships. And also there's a lot of lack in healthy modeling, healthy assistance, healthy protection, healthy ways of being with each other that you maybe need to learn. And not having this knowledge can make you as an adult feel really ashamed and if there's something wrong with you. But of course you haven't got this when you haven't received it. So not really knowing yourself and finding it hard to know who you are and what you feel and so on. So what do you need to do then to heal this? Well, you can undo a lot of these things. You can speak the truth. You can begin to raise the standard of how you allow others to treat you. You can begin to listen more to yourself. You can begin to set boundaries. You can begin to take that little voice in yourself seriously. There are something called 3 core conditions in counseling, and it's unconditional positive regard, empathy, and congruence. And these are things that we when we receive them in a relationship, it sets us on a growth pattern in terms of healing and growing our relationship to self, because this is the opposite of emotional abandonment. This is being with someone with empathy, which is accurate, like really attuning to you. This is someone who accepts you as you are, with pluses, with minuses, who corrects your view of yourself as, for instance, shameful and worthless. And congruence means that when someone is truthful on all levels, when someone is authentic, when someone is actually meaning what they say and saying what they mean, it creates a feeling of security, a feeling of trust, a feeling this can heal a lot of those injuries, and that's why it is the core conditions of counseling. So what can you do then to what can you do to heal? Right now I have an option for you. If you're interested, you can join in a process of over 12 weeks in a small group with coaching and getting help in stepping out of survival and into your authentic self. And if you're interested in that, then please send me an email. My email is in the description of this video. And I hope this has been helpful, and I hope to see you again. So please like, subscribe, or comment, or all of it. I love that. And take care, and I hope to see you again.